Rebel Force Radio presents
Bounty hunting is a complicated profession.
This is the RFR Mandalorian After Show.
Oh yeah, welcome back. RFR Mandalorian After Show. Getting ready to break it all down for you. This week's episode, Chapter 12, The Siege. It's always the something. And I have to confess, when this show first started, within the first 5 to 10 minutes, I thought, oh, here we go. I think they're giving us some filler. They're going to give us some filler. I thought that the Baby Yoda in the classroom, I thought, oh man, they're really stretching these beats out here. They got nothing for us this week. But I know better than that. Of course, they had lots in store for us this week, and we're going to, as I say, break it all down for you. So glad you could be with us. Thanks for everybody joining the show live. Great to see you. Got a very esteemed panel of experts from both the Star Wars universe and the tech world this week. But starting off with, of course, none other than my good friend and yours from Chicago, Jimmy Mack.
Hey, Jason. Hey, Star Wars fans. No filler on this episode, but we will be going back to school, Star Wars school. And that's what we do every week here on the Mandalorian After Show is we pick apart every tiny little morsel of Star Wars goodness we get each week in the Mandalorian. And this week will be no different, as we'll be talking about The Siege and the return of Cara Dune and Greef Karga. I love those characters. And did they bring their A game to this episode? We shall discuss.
We shall indeed. And helping us along that discussion is, no stranger to listeners of Rebel Force Radio over the years. And if you've been walking the convention floors over the last decade, certainly, at least I've looked up to this guy for a while. It's the only way I know how to look at him. Talking about the founder of the Norse Legion. He's an amazing, accomplished artist. As like I say, he's a major Star Wars veteran, and he's a real-life Army veteran, too, and we thank him for that. Mr. Kevin Liell joining us. Kevin, welcome back to RFR. Oh, but you got to unmute yourself there, Kevin. Yep. I had everybody mute themselves before we went on. There we go.
Yeah, you asked me to mute myself, and now
I know.
I muted myself. But
there it is.
But I want to say, I watched the first 3 minutes of this episode, and I'm like, because I got invited to come on this week to Rebel Force Radio, which I'm really grateful for. And I watched the first 3 minutes, and I was like, oh, this is a filler episode. Nothing interesting is going to happen. And I was totally wrong, because this was a fantastic episode.
Especially
if you unmute it.
Oh, no, you didn't watch the whole episode muted, did you? Oh, that would also joining us on the broadcast this week is another good friend of ours here at Rebel Force Radio. You may know him as Mac Sparky. He's an author, he's a podcaster, and he's also a lawyer. So in case we get into any legal troubles, we've got our bases covered. David Sparks joining us with friend. It looks like. Look at this.
Yeah, brought a friend with me today, and I keep trying to tell him it's the blue wire, not the red wire. It's Blue Wire. Blue Wire.
Yes. By the way, thank you, Greg. Greg saying thanks, Jimmy and Jason. Lots to unpack and connect in this episode. Thank you so much for the super chat. Appreciate it. And thank you to our assembled panel of guests. Looking forward to this. As I say, Chapter 12, The Siege, written by Jon Favreau, the little tail of the tape here, and directed by Carl Weathers. And I thought to myself, has Carl Weathers directed anything else that you might have seen? And yeah, of course, he directed multiple episodes of Silk Stockings in the 90s, the famed USA show. And he's directed a few other things. Oh, you don't remember Silk Stockings?
Hell no. I never heard of it.
No.
Yeah, you weren't an adolescent in the early 90s watching those late night USA TV shows. But anyway, maybe that was just me. But as I say, written by Jon Favreau and directed masterfully by Carl Weathers. Speaking of Carl Weathers, I'm going to throw this out. I got a text from a friend of mine right after I finished watching the episode, and he said, "I still don't trust Grief Karga. I think he is the Lando Calrissian of the Mandalorian." That's what he claims. And there are some parallels with Lando. I noticed. You got Grief. He is now the magistrate there on Navarro. He's got his security officer, the new Marshal Cara Dune, and he's always he's got the big smile. He's really happy to see his old buddy Mando, but is there a possibility? I'm going to start with Kevin. Kevin, I think you're a fairly good judge of character. What say you about Grief Karga?
No, I trust him. I think he's proven himself already when he had the opportunity to take out the Mandalorian with those two other bounty hunters towards the end of the last season, and he betrayed those two bounty hunters and helped the Mandalorian. So there, his Lando Calrissian moment has already passed. He's now the good Lando Calrissian that we saw in Jedi and in future Star Wars films.
All right, so you don't think that they're gonna do this again? Could
they
that have
could
just
do
been
anything.
to throw us off the scent here?
That could be true. Yeah, that could be as well. But who's hiring Grief Karga to do this? Certainly not the Empire.
Yeah, but here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that at some point the heat is going to come down so hard on Grief Karga and what's going on in Navarro, especially Gideon now knowing for sure that there's a very tight bond, that the Mandalorian and the asset, the child, Baby Yoda, occasionally come back and visit. When he's not at the Sparks house, apparently, Baby Yoda will occasionally visit Cara Dune and Grief Karga on Navarro, and that puts him in a very precarious position. And I mean, this is a guy, Grief Karga, that has made a lot of money by selling a lot of people out from time to time. I just thought it was interesting that he still, after Kevin, as you point out, had his Lando moment, and he actually went the other way. He's still a little suspicious.
I don't know about that though, because now he's got his Cloud City. He's got this thing that he's in control. What if that was threatened by the Empire? What would he do to protect it? I mean, I was watching the episode. I had the same thought at the end. I was thinking, number one, I like the way the characters evolved. I feel like that, that at the beginning he was fairly one-dimensional, and he's not anymore. But I also got thinking, at some point, Mando just may have to kill him.
I thought at some point Mando just might have to kill him. Jim, what's your take on Grief Karga at this point? You think he's crossed that bridge and he's now at the point of no return, and he's just he's a straight up good guy?
Well, I don't think he's managing all those bounty hunters anymore like he was. I think he's reached some professional legitimacy in his career, and I think he's putting the needs of the people above everything else. That's why they want to take out that Imperial outpost. They want to remove any Imperial presence from Navarro. And I think that's more his goal than anything else. I don't think he's working with the bounty hunters anymore. And he certainly isn't working with the Empire. So
that's for sure.
Yeah, especially after this. This raid on this base/lab, it really has put Grief Karga certainly on the other side, more so probably than even before when he was just kind of in the wrong place at the wrong time. Now he's actively acting out in acts of violence against the Empire.
Yeah.
So
you could say terrorism in a way. I thought it was interesting, his take.
Well, they would say that, yeah.
Sure, his take on the New Republic. He says, "I wish the New Republic would stay out of here." He's not really a fan of them either. He said, if the Empire couldn't tame the Outer Rim, the New Republic certainly can't. So we are going to start to see these parallels of the mistakes that the Empire made. The New Republic, we know, is very likely going to be making. And now Cara Dune as the Marshal, I don't know what it was about this particular episode, David, but I was looking out. I thought at every turn this was going to be Cara Dune's last episode. I think I'm gun shy by I don't know if you know, but she kind of had this melancholy quasi goodbye at the virtual red carpet that they did for season 2 for The Mandalorian. Jim and I just picked up a little tone in her delivery as she was thanking the fans. And so ever since then, man, I've been thinking that this is it for Cara Dune. You think that character's in for the long haul? Oh, David, I think you're muted.
We do not hear you, sir.
Sorry, guys.
Oh, that's
I'm
all right.
sorry.
No problem.
The dog barked. But I have to say that I love this series, but I just don't think that actress is quite. She's my least favorite actress of the group. It seems like a lot of times in scenes you look at her and she's smiling, like thinking, "I can't believe I'm in Star Wars," And I don't know if that's just the backstory and the character is just always smiling, but I don't know. I have a hard time with her for some reason.
Really? Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I got to say, I'm a big fan, but there are a lot of folks out there, we hear from them, that think that, maybe the acting chops aren't what they would want. But, to me, there is something, and we've talked about it for a long time on the show, there's a certain style that you have or you need for Star Wars. And I think Carl Weathers is a brilliant example of this, because here's a guy who I think in this series, he seems somewhat hammy. He seems somewhat exaggerated, but yet somehow it really works. I think it works for him. But maybe it doesn't work so much for her.
Yeah, I feel like he's evolved more this year, though. I mean, I felt like this year, I think he's better at that, and the character is more interesting. I don't know. It's just kind of a weird feeling, but she's great in the fight scenes. I mean, that fight scene at the beginning, which I think was the weaponsmith's lair, wasn't that where they made the
the armorers?
Yes,
I think that was the armorer's workshop. Yeah,
when she picked up that guy and then backed into it using him as a bulletproof vest. I mean, that was awesome.
That was
right?
great.
So I don't know. Yeah.
You watch her,
If I could venture an opinion, I think she's done a fantastic job. I've liked her at the show. I mean, she's supposed to be a fighter, and that's what she does. She's not the poet laureate of Navarro. She's not supposed to bring off some sort of Shakespearean prose. I think that not all of us are going to sit there and act like
that's what Kevin. That's what Darth Maul is for now. Is to shout out Shakespearean sonnets. Evil.
and in fairness,
anyway,
I think her best scene.
I think Cara Dune is great.
Yeah,
and I think her best scene in the whole series was today at the end.
With what's his name, Blue?
Yeah,
Officer Blue.
Really good.
Yeah. Well, he courts her. He offers. He wants to see her come back to the fold. I mean, and it seems to me now, getting a little ahead here, but it seems to me, Kevin, that there is a difference between, in Cara Dune's mind, there is a big difference between the New Republic and the Rebellion. And that's kind of interesting. She has really no interest, I don't think, in being part of the New Republic.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the Rebellion did not have a... I thought he said Kevin.
Well, he may have. No, I just think she got thrown into the rebellion, whereas with the New Republic, that's something that she's going to have to sign up for and commit to. And I don't think she's all about that. She says, "I'm not a joiner."
Yeah, but she did join Greef Karga and the Mandalorian. Kevin, you have something to say?
Jason, what Jimmy wanted me to say on this subject, what Jimmy texted me earlier, he wanted me to say that the rebellion is not a governing body. The rebellion is a military force to take out the Empire. Once they took out the Empire, there is no rebellion. The rebellion doesn't exist anymore. The New Republic, its military was probably founded by many of the leaders of the rebellion, but she wanted to do nothing with that. And where did she find herself? On the Outer Rim, fighting for the good people. Like she was doing with the rebellion.
But here's what I'm wondering. I mean, as a soldier, you also know other soldiers. I mean, there's a big difference between being a soldier fighting for, independence, your own independence, or the independence of someone else, and then being a a governor or somebody, in the new government. So I wonder just how many Cara Dunes there are out there who were, mercenaries for lack of a better word, that were serving in the serving in the rebellion, that just have no interest in the new era, as they call it. Of course, they don't call it that.
She wants to kill stormtroopers. She doesn't want to be a policeman.
Right. Exactly. Big difference. She's not wanting to police the galaxy. Jim, the man, oh man, the biker chase, the speeder chase with those bikes going down those mountains. It was just like, if I closed my eyes, I was listening to Return of the Jedi. It was like right out of there. All of the whirs and all of the buzzes and spins of the speeder. What are you looking like that for? You're giving weird.
I'm getting weird sounds in my headphones.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
A lot of noise.
I think Kevin's rattling the decanter.
Yeah, I hear a lot of noise. It's very hard to concentrate on anything with all that noise going on. But the speeder bikes look great. Definitely, major motion picture style special effects we're seeing going on here. And the sound effects were solid. Very much traditional, the speeder bike sound, but updated and fleshed out a little bit more, actually. I love the classic sound of the speeder bike from Return of the Jedi, but these pack a little bit more oomph. You feel them a little more, and I like that a lot. It was just an excellent sequence. We're seeing scout troopers utilized in this show in a pretty cool way, I think. I'd say that maybe we've seen more scout troopers than just TKs, regular TKs, I think, so far in the series. Well, that's hard to.
They killed a lot of them.
Because so many of them showed up. So many of them showed up in the season 1 finale.
Oh, true, yeah.
We certainly got our share of them there, but we're seeing scout troopers in more of the action, and I think that's just because of practical reasons. It's probably easier to shoot stunts with those guys with what they're wearing. There's more cloth to their uniform than all of that plastic armor, which I think can be a little limited as far as choreography and special effects go.
David, what do you think makes what makes Navarro such a great setting for this lab? It's disguised as a abandoned or practically abandoned military base, but you go in there and it's under the dominion of Grief Karga's underlings, and but it's way out in the outer rim. Oh, maybe I just answered my own question.
Well, also it really kind of calls back to Imperial evil stuff. Going to a planet with a bunch of lava on it to do experiments. It feels very. It just feels very Imperial to me. And Navarro, in general, my wife and I were commenting, it looks just like Galaxy's Edge at Disneyland. I feel like they really take the look for the construction, but then you've got this lab that's, in this ominous place with hot lava running through it. I don't know. It just, it feels very dark side.
It's very Star Warsy. It does work, but it is interesting that, now, what we know, of course, about, I think, Navarro is that prior to the new magistrate and the marshal, it was a pretty lawless place. So that, I guess that in that sense, it would be a good place for them to kind of keep their activities under the cloak of darkness. All right, so they go into the lab, and Jim, we see the vats. And I had to pause, and the kids were going crazy. And by the way, this happened when I paused and the vats were up on the screen. I look over, and this is Parker with his baby Yoda holding him up, trying to see if there's any similarities. Do I see any? Is that a baby Yoda in that vat? I don't know. Were they growing Snokes? Were they growing baby Yodas? What were they growing in those vats?
I was leaning a little more toward the Snoke. I think I was seeing some embryonic Snokes going on in there. And That could be a song, Embryonic Snoke.
I was going to say, I think that was the name of my band in high school, the Embryonic Snokes.
So we might be getting a little indication of some early Palpatine efforts to create a clone that would be strong enough to hold and contain his dark side soul. And so that's what I think we're seeing here. We got some interesting dialogue there in the hologram from Pershing about test subjects not being able to withstand blood transfusions from Baby Yoda. And they're out of blood, so they need more.
Right.
So they're gonna. So I guess the hunt for Baby Yoda's back on, and I think we're seeing the groundwork being laid for what would be the origin of Snoke. I think.
Yeah, I think so too. If not Snoke, we're definitely seeing the early days of. As you pointed out, Jim, they're trying to find something that Palpatine can inhabit. And we know that even all the way to The Last Jedi, The Rise of Skywalker, he still hadn't found the perfect vessel to contain himself. Kevin, that's why he needed to go and find his biological granddaughter, because the thought that she might actually be strong enough.
I don't think we can make Snoke until they make the Emperor, because the Emperor that we see in The Rise of Skywalker, because he says, I made Snoke. So I think that the Emperor is cloned, and then he starts cloning the Snokes. So I think it's going to be farther down the line than what we're seeing right now. I think what we're seeing in that test tube is the clone of Palpatine being made. That's my theory.
So the clone that we may see in The Rise of Skywalker, that could be what they're working on.
There was some interesting parts.
It would make sense to me.
David?
Yeah. The two guys they killed, the two scientists, were wearing the clone patching. The patches on their sleeves, which the cloning center from the prequels. And when I freeze frame it, it actually looks like Snoke to me. It's got that big round head, it's got the small ear, and it's got the scar across the top. So it may have been like. I don't know. Remember in Rise of Skywalker, there was all those rejects. I mean, maybe this is one of those. But it
really
and
the pickle
did
jars.
look to me like Snoke.
Yeah. These didn't look like they were in pickle juice as much as they looked bluish. So they had a different, just a kind of a different vibe. But something that we heard, which I think will make a lot, David. You're not the friendliest. You're not the friendliest when it comes to the prequels.
M count.
The M count. You want to take a wild guess as to what that M stands for? An M count?
No, you know what? It's all good. It's all good. I found my piece of it. I've told you on this show before. The big thing was when I was a kid, I wanted to be a Jedi. I didn't want a blood test to tell me whether I'd be a Jedi. I just wanted to be a Jedi. But
right,
it's all good, and that would make sense. Midichlorians exist in that universe, and they've got Yoda blood, which presumably has a lot of them. And it sounds like what he's describing is when they inject it into people, they turn into pickle jars. So, they haven't got it figured out yet. They need more blood.
Right. Well, I gotta say, if people are gonna pick the nits on Cara Dune, I have to come clean about Horatio Sands on this show. What is the name of that character? Mynoth, Mythrol.
Like Mythrol. Lord of the Rings,
Mythrol. I got. You know what? I liked him in this episode. I really did. I didn't have a problem. I really didn't like him in Chapter 1. I just had a reaction, but somehow I don't know what it was. He just seemed to fit better. Maybe I'm just loosened up. That could be. So I'm a little more stretchy, more malleable around these characters. But He didn't bother me this time out, and I just love when he's walking around the reactor shaft. Old Ben, he worked around there. He didn't need guardrails or whatever he says. This thing has no guardrails. Yeah, old Ben didn't need that, and he was just as high, if not higher, than he was. But so I appreciated the nods to that as well, and just nice to see that character not be quite so irritating as he was. Something else that we know, Kevin, is that. Baby Yoda loves to fly. You see those expressions?
Well, not this time. Not this time, because he ended up throwing up his macaroons.
Well, I don't know, but man, every time I saw him, he was like doing the hands up, and he was grinning ear to ear, and that's a big grin to go to stretch those ears. He seemed to
I'd
be
also like to make a
loving it.
mention that he threw up the macaroons that he stole. Macaroons are made from egg whites, so apparently Baby Yoda really likes eggs.
Hey, you know what? There are a lot of eggs in actually, I believe that according to my daughter, it's not macaroon, it's a macron. So
but they're made of meringue. They're made of meringue.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
a lemon
yeah,
meringue
yeah.
pie.
But
Same thing. Those are made from egg whites. So he basically has an egg addiction.
Yes.
Baby Yoda.
An egg diction. That's good.
Dude, yeah, I didn't think of that one. No, that was all you.
Oh,
sir.
I thought you said the egg diction.
No, I said an egg
Right.
addiction.
No, you
I
own
wish I
you
could've
own
kept
that
it. Oh,
crappy
was great.
pun. That's yours. I'm not. Don't put that stink on me. No, Jim. How many times when you were in school did you wish that you had force powers, and now finally to see Baby Yoda sitting in a classroom using force powers to steal the kids' cookies next to him?
Like that kid couldn't share one with him.
Oh,
I mean, Baby Yoda is so looking at her so cute, and the kid is just. But I mean, that's school, you know. All of the it all came flashing back at me, and that's what school is all about. Hey, I want to just take a quick second here to show off these cool things that Kevin Liell sent us that is available via Norse Legion. These are amazing coins. That there's a set of these medallions, and they're all dedicated to Joseph Campbell, and of course we know the influence he had on Star Wars. But these are great-looking coins, and there's a whole set of them that you can get at Norse Legion. Kevin, there's a website now there, isn't there, for Norse Legion?
Yeah, it's Norse
where you get
Legion
these?
Store, NorseLegionStore.com. And we also have a Facebook page, Norse Legion Facebook page. And Jimmy, I want to thank you very much for bringing that up, and I really appreciate that. So this is what I'm. Since you've got viewers that are listening right now, the first 5 people that respond on my Norse Legion Facebook page, just send me a hello or something like that. I will send them a set of those coins, all 6 of them, for free.
Oh,
wow!
Just reach out to
David.
me. I really appreciate. I wasn't.
David, hurry up!
Jimmy,
I'm going to tell you, they are
cool.
very cool. You're going to want these. So get clacking away.
There's 6 of them. I have 5 of them. Which one am I
Because
missing?
the Fett one is coming out next week. The Fett one's coming out next
Fett.
week. That's the final coin in the series. And yes, both of you are getting one. I wanted to send them to you now because you guys are great and you guys help me out a lot.
Wow, there it is. The power.
So
of
you look
myth
at the
on
back.
with
It
the-
says the power of myth, and
Joseph
it's
Campbell's
only
logo.
share. And it's only fair that I share these and plug these for you, Kevin, because I dropped the F-bomb at you, and people are giving me hell on YouTube for doing that. So I do apologize. I didn't, guys. I put a lot into making sure we're giving you the best sounding show as possible. So sorry, I lost my cool there for a second. But it was nothing personal against Kevin. Trust me on that. Kevin's a good guy and he's a good friend.
Okay, yeah. I just made a mistake.
Talented artist.
My Facebook is blowing up right now. I'm getting like 20 messages already in the 30 seconds since I said that.
Well, there you go.
Yeah,
But thank
these
you
are
for joining
great.
us, Jimmy.
And then, of course, Kevin is also very well known for his incredible patches that he does. You sent me a really cool one. Where is it? Well, we'll show it off some other time. But great work from the Norse Legion and licensed collectibles, too. This isn't some, Etsy garbage. This is some real good stuff here. And I'm not, I don't mean to bash Etsy people. People on YouTube will get mad at me. It's like, he's dropping the F-bomb. He's ripping Etsy. What's the matter with this guy? Somebody's like, Jimmy, is your blood sugar low tonight? It might be. It might be. It really might be. But there's Darth Vader.
Yeah,
So
these are
great
beautiful.
stuff from the Norse Legion.
And to give
Beautiful collectibles.
and to give Kevin the ultimate credit there, he designs all those. So it's not just he doesn't just call someone up and say, "Hey, make these things." He actually does all the artwork. Yeah, he does all the artwork. He's a jeweler. He's a jewelry designer. Amongst everything, he's a true Renaissance man. So
I design everything that Norse Legion makes. That's the one thing. I have salespeople, I have manufacturing people, but I make sure that everything that's designed in Norse Legion is designed by me and no one else. Because I have a huge ego.
So Well, you got a huge ego, and you're very prolific. You have all these great ideas, and the worst thing about a great idea is never following through on it. So you certainly follow through on it, and that's great stuff. And I'm really happy to have those collectibles in my collection.
Guys, so this episode, even though a couple of us have already admitted that we had some trepidations initially, not that we weren't enjoying it, but we thought, I don't know, is this is starting to feel, the beginning, maybe even the whole first act is starting to feel a bit like filler. But this was a big episode in terms of now I feel as though, David, all of the cards are on the table in a sense, because now Gideon knows that Mando knows. Gideon knows that Mando knows, and so they know that Gideon is alive. They know that Baby Yoda is at risk, and likely the reason that Mando, left that lab so quickly and realizing. So this is this as big of a moment as I think it is in terms of the future plot here?
Well, I think that the show has gone pretty slowly in terms of the big kind of plot movement. And if you ever play chess, there's the opening and then there's the middle game. I feel like we just entered the middle game. It's like now we've got the pieces on the board. We know what people are doing. And, I suspect next week we're going to get another big piece on the board. And I just think it's going to it's just going to ramp up from here. And we're not to end game yet, but we're definitely in middle game now.
So we can assume, guys, that Mando is on his way to rendezvous with Ahsoka. And what does that mean in terms of Gideon? Could Gideon, who's on the lookout for beings with high M counts, we've never really heard of what Ahsoka's M count might be. Do we think it could be above average? Do we think that it could be average for a Jedi? But are we gearing up for something where the force of Gideon and the force of Ahsoka Tano are coming together?
I'm really hoping Ahsoka breaks all those toys he had at the end of the episode next week. That's what I'm looking for.
What were those toys? Was that just armor, or were those clones of some sort?
Okay, I have an answer for you.
Go ahead.
Guys, I have a solid answer for you. Yes, they were robots. At the very end of the episode, I've now made the habit of watching the episode with the audio description track. Let me try to spit out a complete sentence here. It's been a struggle for me all night. But because of the low blood sugar, of course. But the audio description track features much more insight into what's happening on screen. It takes away a lot of the guesswork. And as Moff Gideon was reviewing those droids that were in those cubbies, the audio descriptive track referred to them as Dark Troopers. Dark Troopers, classic EU nod to the old Dark Forces video game. These appear to be Phase 1 Dark Troopers, which were droids. And it eventually evolved into 3 stages of Dark Trooper. And the final stage, you could actually get into the armor and battle as a Dark Trooper. So I think that's the direction we're heading in. They do make a note in the audio descriptive track that says that the Dark Troopers are wearing similar armor to Moff Gideon. They make a point of saying that. And but those are Dark Troopers. So a huge nod to the expanded universe going back to the mid-90s and LucasArts and the PC game Dark Forces. And then Kyle Katarn and all the characters that emerged with that video game too. So maybe some of those characters are candidates for future episodes of The Mandalorian.
The fact that they're droids means there's a non-zero chance we will see Ahsoka cut one in half, and I cannot wait.
David, you have been I mean, I go back before we even saw anything from the Mandalorian trailer, anything, and I know you've been a big fan of the Clone Wars and Ahsoka in particular. As a matter of fact, you named the dog Ahsoka. So here's a picture of David's beautiful dog with it even has the David's dog even has a toy Baby Yoda.
Hey, that's a spoiler. That's a spoiler.
Oh God, don't tell me. What do we know? Is this
We
live
know
action?
Ahsoka. We know
Protecting it.
Ahsoka and Baby Yoda will be together. The two of them will be together.
There you go. Next
Ahsoka
week,
and Baby
baby.
Yoda. I guarantee it's going to happen now, and we have David to thank. Thanks, man.
But you're a big Ahsoka fan, and there is a sense of nervousness I've noticed online with fans of Ahsoka saying, they don't know if they're ready for live action Ahsoka. I think they're cautiously pessimistic at this point. What could happen? I mean, are you nervous about it, or do you are you just can't wait? Give it to me now.
I have complete faith in Dave Filoni, and if Dave Filoni is putting Ahsoka on the screen, it's going to be awesome. If it was some other bozo, I might be a little worried, but I'm not.
Yeah, but Filoni, he's going to make it happen, and all signs point to the next episode, which is written, we know, by Dave Filoni. Is that this is going to be the introduction of live action Ahsoka? Is he directing it? Do we know, or is it he just wrote it?
Yeah, he's directing.
Yeah, he's directing.
He's directing it.
He's directing it. He wrote it, and it's called Chapter 13, The Jedi. So I think all signs point to Ahsoka showing up in the next episode.
Yeah, I would say so.
Bet my life on that one.
Yeah. There's just a little bit of plot, and this is all MacGuffin stuff, so I guess it doesn't really matter. But did anybody catch what the reason that Grief Karga wanted to blow up this base? He thought it was a half abandoned base, and he said something about the black market. Was it just to keep the black market opportunists off of Navarro? Was that what it was?
That's what he said. But the question is did he lie to the Mandalorian? And he wanted he wanted to do something. He knew there was something bigger there, or not. I don't know. So maybe that goes back to your fact of what you said a little bit of Lando Calrissian, of making some actions that are hiding some truths. That is possible. I didn't think of that.
Yeah,
but
his
excuse was they wanted to knock out the black marketeers.
Yeah.
I think he's really proud of. Go ahead.
No, David, please.
Oh, sorry. I think he's really proud of what he has and what they've done, and he wants it. He wants it even better. He wants it to become a trade depot, and you got to get rid of the old trash first. I think that was genuine.
All right, David still has faith in Grief Karga. Now, something that I was curious about too is this the incidents that Blue. Now, I don't know what his rank is. What do we got on him? Blue, Imperial Captain Tiva, Captain Carson Tiva, who she calls Blue. So I'm guessing that's some sort of a nickname, or that's his call sign. She definitely knew him. But
no, well, Blue. I mean, that's just what you call a cop. You call him Blue. That's what I think she was referring to.
I think if I can drop
officer.
a little bit of military,
Please.
knowledge, if there's a Blue Squadron and he is the leader of Blue Squadron, i.e. Blue leader, he would be called Blue.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, she was calling him that because that's just, referring to him as a cop. That's what I picked up from that.
No, that was That was definitely a military. Jimmy, I don't mean to step on your toes, but it's just that was definitely a military thing that they kind of stuck in there. They did it last week too with the ping, or 2 weeks ago with the ping, and
yes, I was way off on the ping. Yep, I was off on the ping.
He wanted that it was some sort of cash deposit with what do you call that, Bitcoin or something? But no, it was a ping. A ping is a military thing. It's they use it on submarines to communicate.
Yeah, and what threw me off was he's like, I don't have that kind of hardware, But anyway, Blue
ATM
Captain Tiva here. He's talking about these incidents. These incidents seem to be happening there. So, is he referring specifically to the Mandalorian and just all the trouble that seems to follow him in the as he's trying to, get on with his mission, accomplish his, what is it that the Mandalorian his quest, he's been quested to do this, but they're picking up on something. And he's like, it's not happening anywhere but out here. I'm just assuming that he's talking about Mando's exploits, or is there a bigger
No,
story?
no. He is definitely talking about the number of stormtroopers that are popping up in these regions to do God knows what. That's what he's talking about.
Yeah.
They don't care what
okay.
Mandalorian does. Mandalorian can open a pig farm, and they don't give a crap. What they want is all those stormtroopers. What are they doing? How do we take them out?
What are they doing out here in the Outer Rim? And so the Mando is just in the right place at the wrong time, or the wrong place at the right time, whatever you want to put it. It's good for us because it creates great drama. Yeah, David?
What if they're setting us up to let us know that at some point we're going to see a full-on badass X-wing versus Death Star or a Star Destroyer battle at the end? We've got all this Imperial hardware. Maybe we're going to get a cool space battle this season.
Well, I would love that. I mean, already, the dogfighting with the Razor Crest and the TIE fighters in this episode was amazing. It was fantastic. I mean, whether it's hand-to-hand combat or it's smaller vehicles taking on each other, or it's the bigger ships. I mean, everything has been so solid all the way through. There's not a single point where I go, well, it's just a TV show. It hasn't been like that. And up until the Resistance animated series, I don't think, certainly not with Clone Wars, did we ever have to say or apologize for it in the sense and say, well, it's just a cartoon. They knew that they knew that they didn't want that to be an excuse. They didn't want to lean on, well, it's just a cartoon. Just like I don't think Favreau and Filoni ever want to lean on it's just a TV show with Mandalorian. So given the fact that we've got Captain, or what was his name? What's the doctor's name? Dr. Pershing. Dr. Pershing and his holocron, not holocron, his what do we call that? His hologram transmission to Grief Karga. Does it give you any more of a clue as to were they trying to clone Baby Yoda, or was Baby Yoda a clone?
No, they're using his blood to give transfusions to normal people to try to make them force sensitive, but their test subjects are not reacting in a positive way to the transfusions. So, but that has not thwarted them. They want to keep plowing ahead with these experiments, but they need more blood, so they have to get Baby Yoda back.
I'm also pretty sure while the Mando was watching that video, he was thinking to himself, I really should have killed that guy.
The doctor? Yeah, probably.
Yeah, he had a chance.
He did, and he showed mercy. And, when you look what happens, you give the guy a second chance, and he runs right back into the loving arms of the imps instead of using that as an opportunity to turn over a new leaf and find a better future for himself. He should have gone home and rethought his life.
However, the doctor wants to. He's upset that he disappointed Moff Gideon, but he also does recommend they suspend these experiments because their volunteers are meeting regrettable fates. So it's hard to figure out which side of the rails this guy is falling on, because he wants to plow. He recommends stopping the experiments, but then says we need more blood to keep continuing, and I won't let you down. So it's hard to tell where this guy really, where he really stands in my book.
Rare for a Star Wars character, right? You've got parts you really like and dislike about him. I mean, he protected the baby, and but at the same time, he's kind of like this Mangala style monster.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. And I mean, and what are they just gonna try to drain Baby Yoda totally dry? They said he was
no. I think they take enough out of his blood. I think they'll take enough of his to see that that he's okay. They'll take as much as they can so he can keep living and give more and more. It's kind of like milking a cow. They don't want to take too much, but they want to take just enough that they can use.
Yeah, sort of like a vampire. Sometimes we'll have that one victim that he goes to. He doesn't want to kill it because he's going to lose out on his little blood bank there.
Yeah. Pershing said that. They said they can only take out small amounts because the host was so small, and so Pershing was obviously. And I hate that name, Pershing. I can't stand it. But they were obviously alluding towards.
It is very.
Pershing was a great American general. Why name this little freaking punk after such a great American? John J. Pershing, of course.
Let's see here. B. Rye Adana, here, let me get that back up on the screen, says, love and listen to every episode since 2015. Mando Chapter 12. The embryonic snakes was excellent. Makes me wonder what improv direction Carl Weathers added to Chapter 12. Well, speaking of improv, I'll say one thing. When he greets Baby Yoda, he's so excited to see Baby Yoda. That whole sequence felt very improv to me. That they were just all, I think, all the actors. Gina, because of course you can't see Mando's face, but Gina Carano and Carl Weathers were having a good time. I think it's just probably, look, David has one of the best, most faithful reproductions of the real Baby Yoda. I'm sure you get that giddy look on your face every time you look at that little guy, don't you?
Oh yeah, man, he makes me smile every day.
Yeah, can you?
He's a little nervous now. You're talking about taking his blood. He's scared right now.
Can you give him?
Can't tell.
Put him right up to the camera. Can you let's people get a close up of this guy.
I have to step him back a little here.
Oh, do you?
So
all right.
Kind of see the whole. Here's the whole thing.
Look at that.
And then
Bam.
I'll bring him in a little bit. The camera is going to lose focus at some point.
No, it looks.
Who is the manufacturer of this? Who created this?
It's from Sideshow.
Look at that.
He looks very pink. Very pink.
He's a little too pink, but he's still cute.
Yeah.
And he's got
It's much better than
weather, maybe.
Can you see
He's got feet? There you go. He actually has feet.
Oh, the feet. Look at that.
Yeah. But you
got any eggs?
This is my theory.
Any eggs in there or anything?
Yeah.
The egg diction.
Instead of buying 100 action figures a year, I buy one thing a year. And this was my thing this year, and I really like him.
Very nice. Very nice.
Yes, very good. Well, one of the things we are going to do here is we're going to open up the phone lines. And as a matter of fact, let's just go ahead and do that now. The number to call if you want to be on the program is area code 708-866-1737. That's 708-866-1737. Lines are now open, so give us a call. Maybe we missed something. There's still lots to unpack
we
and
missed
talk
a
about
lot.
this.
I still have a lot I need to say. I mean, my God, I have a ton I still need to say about this episode.
Well, we're not wrapping it up. We're not wrapping it up yet. Well, go ahead, Jim. Throw us a topic. Throw something out on the table.
I thought it was interesting that we saw all variations of Aqualish walrus men hanging out together. We saw the large tusked, we saw the butt-faced, we saw them all together, hanging together harmoniously, unlike we've ever seen walrus men hang out together before. And I thought that was a beautiful thing.
My daughter,
Okay, so
I swear to you, I got to tell you, I got to swear to you, my daughter said, because I said, what's the name of that species? And she goes, aren't they called buttface? I'm like, oh, I love you. I love you. That's what we used to call them back in the day.
Did you guys also notice how he lifted his helmet and drank the soup in front of the baby? I mean,
yes.
You think Bo-Katan had an effect on him? Maybe he's reconsidering?
No, I think he does. That's a commonplace thing he does. I think he does lift up the helmet, and so he just doesn't fully reveal his face.
Well, that's something I didn't realize. Does that front part of the visor, was he just pulling the helmet up, or was that part of the visor actually lifting up?
No, he was just lifting.
He's just lifting the whole.
He was just lifting the whole bucket.
Okay.
Up. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it looks like we do have some calls. Let's go and talk to Florida. Area code 305. You're on with Rebel Force Radio. Max Sparky and Kevin Liell. Hi. All right, Mariana, good to hear from you.
I don't hear the caller.
Oh, nope, hold on. There we go. Now they'll be able to hear you. Sorry, it's Mariana calling in from Florida.
Yeah. Thanks, guys, for taking me on. Okay. Yes. I have to say, this was a really awesome episode. Props to Carl Weathers. It was very well written, very well directed. I actually wanted to share a theory I have for next week's episode in regards tying into tonight's episode. Is it okay if I share it?
Please do. Let's hear it.
Yeah. So, yes, as you know, it was revealed that the Empire, remnants of the Empire and Moff Gideon are out tracking Mando and Baby Yoda because obviously they're going to find Ahsoka. And since it was revealed, Dr. Pershing, that they were looking for a donor with a high M count for these, I think, clone bodies, do you guys think that perhaps this could lead Moff Gideon to find Ahsoka and possibly, if she does appear, use her as an M count donor for these Palpatine clone bodies?
It's a great question. It's a great question. Thanks, Mariana.
Question.
Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
I think that would be a big mistake for Moff Gideon to try to present Ahsoka to Dr. Pershing. She'll behead them both before they could even think about it.
She's not quite.
I think she's pretty capable. I think that would be a tall order. Yeah,
it'd be the last
do you think
mistake
he can
he'd
fight
ever
like
make.
Darth Maul. Because she beat Darth Maul.
Yes, she did, and she at least she ended the fight with Vader in a standoff, as far as we know. I don't know that. See, then you got into the whole world between worlds thing there, and I don't know. All right, let's. We've got area code 304. I think it's Alex from West Virginia. You're on with Rebel Force Radio.
Can you hear me this week?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, Alex. You know what? You get 2 questions since you were on the line last week and we weren't able to get to you. Go for it. You have the floor, sir.
All right. Well, the thing I'm wondering about tonight, we knew back when Werner Herzog, his character, was searching for the child, or Baby Yoda, of course. He wanted the child, or Baby Yoda, eliminated. But, of course, with Pershing, what he's saying is we need more samples. So do you think the plan changed?
Okay. Or was it always the plan to basically milk Baby Yoda for his blood?
Right. Well, they revealed that they took as much blood out of him that they could. So he was useless for them at that moment. And so I think that the client was just like, throw him away. Like, we're done with it. Throw it away. It's garbage. But Pershing had, he has a connection with life and wanted to protect it, and thought, wiping out a baby would be, even for an Imperial, some of them have a sense of morality, and you'd have to assume a scientist does as well.
Oh, by the way, Paul Bateman, our buddy Paul Bateman is in the chat saying, calling it now, the target is 50 years old. Not Baby Yoda, but his DNA. His DNA is 50 years old. All right. I've known Paul long enough to not necessarily doubt. Paul called the sequel trilogy before anybody did. So
yeah, and some of this Boba Fett stuff too, I think.
Yes, for sure. So could it be the
DNA masquerading as Boba? Yeah,
the DNA is 50 years old, not necessarily the child. It's a cool theory. It's a very cool theory. Alex, anything else? I know we didn't get to you last week. You got something else you want to throw at us?
Well, I just love what they're doing with Baby Yoda. I like how we had the moment with the wires, kind of like Baby Groot in Guardians of the Galaxy. Love what they're doing with that, and I hope to see as much of that as possible until we inevitably part ways with Baby Yoda.
Hey, by the way, I want to say something. Thanks, Alex. I want to say something in defense of Baby Yoda because in this world of cancel culture that we tend to live in, I know there's some people angry about Baby Yoda eating the eggs of the frog lady. And now
He has an addiction.
Well, he has an addiction. We know this, but my wife is a zoologist. She's a biologist. She's a scientist. And she wanted to remind everybody, folks, those were unfertilized eggs. It's just like eating an egg out of your refrigerator. Chill out. Now, I understand that they're part, of her line and her lineage, but he wasn't just, relax. And then if that doesn't do it for you, it's just a TV show. It's just a TV show.
In science fiction television.
In the words of the great William Shatner, it's just a TV show. All right, let's see. Looks like we got Jeff calling. Jeff, area code 248. You're on with Rebel Force Radio.
Yeah, hi guys. How you doing?
Great. Thanks for hanging with us tonight.
Yeah, I just had a quick observation. I don't know if you guys caught this or not, but the alien character who sabotaged the Mando ship, who was on the hologram at the end of the episode.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Thought he sort of looked like Oki from Rise of Skywalker, like a young version.
He did. He also resembled one of the Mimban from Solo.
He's a Mimban.
A Mimban, I should say.
Yeah.
It's Mimbanese. He's Mimbanese from Mimban.
Yeah.
So the character in the episode or Ochi?
I don't know what Ochi. I don't care about their sequels.
There's a similarity
no, I was just trying to see if there's like a
episode was red.
Gotcha. I was thinking a connection with like the whole, prequel to how the Emperor sort of changed his spirit to the new body. That maybe this is like an early version. We sort of see Oki become more of a Sith follower as we go on. Because we got 30 years till Rise of Skywalker.
Yes.
So you're thinking that is Ochi.
Just maybe his skin
maybe,
color.
Yeah, like a foreshadowing,
changes.
maybe.
Wow.
Yeah, I see that.
Anyway,
I like what you're thinking.
Might be kind of a stretch.
Hey, that's what we do here, man. That's what we want you to do.
Keep in mind the pictures we see of Ochi are not 30 years in the future with the Rise of Skywalker. They're when Rey is a little tiny kid. So it's actually 20 years before. So basically, the pictures we see of Ochi are actually happening just a couple years after these episodes of The Mandalorian. Thank you very much, Kevin Liell.
Hey, for a guy that doesn't care about the sequels, you sure do know a lot about him, Kevin. So
currently in the Darth Vader line from Marvel Comics, they've introduced Ochi, and he's actually hunting down Vader on Mustafar. It's pretty interesting. He looks nothing like he does in The Rise of Skywalker. He's wearing a helmet. He has on armor. You can't even recognize him. But in The Rise of Skywalker, he looks like he's kind of like a Lobot. He has a Lobot thing around his head, and he has eye implants. So he's been adding mechanical elements to himself over the years, much like to a lesser degree than General Grievous, of course. But interesting to follow along with his development. Could this character that we see in The Mandalorian have some sort of relationship to Ochi or something? I don't know, maybe. I think he's just kind of a random Imperial operative just working undercover, or someone who is like, a squeal or something, So we'll see how it all unfolds.
All right, how about David from Herndon, Virginia? Herndon, area code 703, you're on.
Hey, guys. I love the show.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
So I just want to say, I think that the trench run in this episode with the TIE fighters and the biker scouts is the best that TIE fighters have ever looked, personally. But otherwise, I mean, now that we're halfway through the season, I'm wondering what you guys think will happen with Boba Fett's armor and how Boba Fett will tie in. Personally, I think he will be the Lando character and meet up with Mando, betray him, and deliver the baby, the child, to Moff Gideon.
So he's going to reclaim his bounty hunter ways and actually swoop in and be the ultimate bounty hunter and actually get this incredible asset that has got.
I think so. I think he'll prove that he's not a true Mandalorian, that he is more of a bounty hunter first.
Yeah, well, it is an interesting question, David. What is Boba Fett's role in this series other than just to introduce the character for his own TV show? What is his
of course.
Where does he figure into the plot. I appreciate the call. David, Kevin, you guys want to jump in here on where you see Boba Fett fitting in?
Well, first of all, he's back on Tatooine still, and they're far from Tatooine right now. But I'm assuming they have some plan other than just introducing him to some possible show, because I don't think they're going to have two separate Star Wars shows about Mandalorians running around the galaxy. I don't believe the rumor that they're going to make a Boba Fett show. So I think he's going to be.
They're making it in this. They're making it.
Oh, they are.
That Boba Fett show
so they're
is
have two
happening.
Separate
that is
Mandalorian.
Happening.
Okay, I stand corrected.
It is. It's totally happening.
Well, he's certainly going to have more to do than just walking off a cliff, or walking near a cliff. I don't see that as important enough. We're going to see him again in the end of the season, definitely.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's see. We got. Let's talk to Daniel. Daniel calling from Utah, I believe. Area code 801. You're on with Rebel Force Radio and Max Sparky and Kevin Liell.
Hey guys, how you guys doing?
Doing great.
Good.
What's on your mind tonight about Chapter 12?
I got a question. So if you look at, both of Disney's Star Wars big properties, which would be the sequel trilogy and now Mandalorian, I'm curious, both of them now feature a lot of cloning. Is it possible, given that we don't know where Baby Yoda was prior to Chapter 1, is it possible he was in the hands of the Empire and that he was a part of what the Emperor was doing with his cloning? And is it possible that Rey is a part of Baby Yoda?
Oh, wow. All right, hold on a second now. I might ask you. I might. Yeah, this is like a. This is quite a family tree. One of those family tree that. It's all. You know what I'm trying to say. To explain this a little bit more, Daniel. What do you mean now? Paint this. Connect the dots for us. This connection between Rey and Baby Yoda, even if Baby Yoda has been the subject of Palpatine's experiments for some time, or Palpatine, as Kevin.
Sure.
calls it.
Yeah.
Oh, would you stop?
Right, and so we know just based Palpatine, we know based off of what we learned from Rise of Skywalker is that the Emperor had been playing around with cloning for some time, even prior, during the events of Return of the Jedi, and if Baby Yoda had existed that long, was he using him for experiments? Was some of that a part of what he was doing, and was that a part of the clone in which he created that then was the offspring of Rey?
Oh, okay. So basically, he used some Baby Yoda juice to make the clone that would eventually become the father of Rey, and then begat Rey. And okay, all right. I'm kind of coming around to this. David looks a little incredulous. David, do you think that there is any shared midichlorians or blood between Rey and Baby Yoda?
I don't know. It's a little out there for me. Maybe. I mean, who knows? It's Star Wars, right? But
I don't know. I'm looking at Baby Yoda right now. I see a little resemblance between Baby Yoda and Daisy Ridley.
They're both cute.
Be. Yeah.
Baby Yoda is a clone of the original Yoda. His DNA was acquired by Palpatine when Palpatine had that duel with Yoda in the Senate chambers at the end of Revenge of the Sith. When Yoda was falling out of the Senate pod, he scratched his claw along the side of it and then lost his grip and fell. Palpatine got Yoda DNA from that scratch.
From the fingernails. Well,
yes,
we
know from Attack of the Clones, Yoda says, "I'm going to go to Kamino and check this place out for myself." And when he got there, they got a sample of his DNA. That's my
good one. That's a good one. I like that. That's good stuff right
However, that's not 50 years before this episode, though. That's only about 40 years before this episode. It's not 50.
That's close enough, man.
50 years before this episode, 50 years before this episode would be right about the time Boba Fett was born, who was also a clone, which is kind of ironic. 50 years before this episode would be when Boba Fett was born.
Okay.
Yeah, he's about right.
Well, you know, age and time in Star Wars. I think we got Dallas, Texas on the line here. Dallas, 214 area code. You're on with Rebel Force Radio.
I like that.
Hey, this is Nemo. What's going on?
Hey, how
Nemo.
are you?
What's happening, man?
Oh, not much. I just want to talk about that one sequence with the pickled clones, 100% Snoke. Listen to the music in that sequence. You can hear parts of Snoke's theme. You can hear parts of Kylo Ren's theme. I actually posted a photo in the chat on YouTube. You can compare the scars on the head. They're very similar. I think what's happening, they have this template. They try to apply it to midichlorians, try to transfuse the blood. The body rejects it. It gets disfigured and dysfunctional because the midichlorians doesn't react that way. So that's why Snoke is all deformed and mangled. But he can use the Force because eventually they get the process to work. But in the meantime, all of these failures are discarded and disfigured. And the fact that it's happening on Exegol as well as other planets leads me to believe Moff Gideon isn't the only one that's trying to do this. I think everyone's trying to do this so they can resurrect the Emperor in some way or form.
Oh, like it's a race. Like all of these higher up warlord type former imps. Like Gideon's just one of maybe dozens of opportunists like that. They're all trying to become the Vader or the Tarkin, the heir to the Emperor, in a sense. Wow, that is a great theory. Love that. Good one, Nemo.
That is really good.
That they use. Yeah, some of the language that they use, like "Long live the Empire" and stuff like, "Oh, the new era is only beginning." Some of the stuff they had lit and leads me to believe this is quite possibly also leading up into the rise of the First Order. So once they get that Snoke figure in place, he's going to bring about the First Order, and that's what's going to be what's coming next.
Wow.
If I can make an amendment there, I think one thing to agree with what Memo's saying. You know the graphics they have during the credits, the concept art that they're showing all the time during the credits. If you notice when they go to that scene, it doesn't have the blue hue you see in the actual episode, but it's yellow, and it's yellow like the vats you see in The Rise of Skywalker.
It's
so
that.
It's originally when they were thinking
pea green yellow
about Exegol.
Yeah. And to pile on even further, when the Emperor later says, "I created Snoke," what he could mean is, "I seeded the DNA and instructions that if I, disappear, you guys need to build this." I mean, it could have been done while he was, out of commission.
Do we know if all the Snokes that are made are just reject Palpatines? Palpatines that didn't make it? That's why it's deformed and disfigured? He's not an alien.
No,
we don't know
he's
really
not.
much. I mean, there's not much on the books about this, really. So we're kind of filling in the blanks. But I think what the most popular opinion is that they're just normal clones. They get injected with it's been realized that Palpatine can't possess a normal clone because the dark side is so powerful, it just eats away at the flesh and the organs and everything, and just makes it impossible for the clone to survive. And I think what they're trying to do is create clones that are strong enough to maintain Palpatine's presence. And so they're injecting these clones with the blood of Baby Yoda. They mentioned volunteers, though. So maybe they're not dealing specifically with clones all the time. Maybe some zealots are willing to sacrifice their life so Palpatine can possess them. But because they're not strong in the Force, they don't survive.
I think when the Empire
Palpatine's
says
spirit.
volunteers, it's the same way that the Third Reich said volunteers. I don't buy that for a second.
But they seem to be, at least Pershing does, and maybe it's just his general nature as a scientist and a doctor, but he seems to be wanting to protect these quote volunteers. He doesn't want to cause harm to to more of them. Maybe he just thinks it's a waste of the baby Yoda blood, though, and it has nothing to do with compassion.
We got Peoria on the line. Peoria, I think, we got 309 area code.
Hey. How's
Hey.
it going?
All right.
John. The name's John. I'm in
John.
Peoria, Illinois. Yeah.
Oh,
Good to hear from you.
Yeah,
How are
I
you?
just want to jump in. Doing well. I just want to jump in that this episode was giving me huge episode 4 vibes. I'm sure you guys picked up on that. It recreated probably my favorite sequence in the first film there, where Luke and Leia are about to jump over the trench with the zip line thing and swing across it. So I definitely got those vibes. And then when the Razor Crest flies down at the last second and blasts them away. Yeah, I thought it was a super good episode. The only real question I had was how do all of you guys think that Ahsoka Tano is going to play in? Is she going to come in next week, or do you have any guesses or predictions with Moff Gideon?
Yeah, I think that it's a pretty sure thing. Thanks for calling, John. Appreciate it. Pretty sure thing that we're going to see Ahsoka next week. We know that we leave this episode with a tracking beacon on the Razor Crest. Gideon's going to be hot on his tail, but I think it was Hux that said we have them dangling on a string, but what's going to be on the other end of that string next week is Ahsoka Tano, who swings around the lightsabers like nobody's business, but is not encumbered by the doctrine of the Jedi. I think this is going to be a pretty intense Ahsoka Tano. At least that's what I'm hoping for. This is not going to be the I don't know that it's going to be the sugary sweet Ahsoka that we saw for a number of years on the Clone Wars and voiced by the wonderful and incredible Ashley Eckstein. I think this is going to be a different take. David?
Did you also notice the sounds they used when he was shutting down the reactor were the exact same audio sounds from Obi-Wan doing? Yeah, exactly. That really warmed my heart too as an Episode 4 fan.
Yeah, there are definitely
Michael
a lot of
in the chat. Michael in the chat brings up something interesting. Obviously, we know that the Mando is in search of the Jedi, and we also know that Ahsoka is not a Jedi. And so Michael says, what if Ahsoka, since she isn't the Jedi, what if the Jedi that the Mandalorian actually hooks up with turns out to be Ezra? Or what if... and Nick also says Ahsoka will help them find a real Jedi and then just go about her way. I don't know.
Yeah, I think...
I don't know.
I put more stock in that Ahsoka is going to be the Jedi that's going to potentially... if you would have asked me last year, do you think there's any possibility of seeing a young Luke Skywalker in the series? I'd have said absolutely not. Impossible. I don't think we're ever going to see it. Now I'm not so sure.
Right.
I think that it could be possible. Just like I would have thought at one point you'd never see Darth Vader in the Clone Wars, but it did happen. Brandon is in Canada, and he wants to talk about Ahsoka Tano tonight. Brandon, welcome to Rebel Force Radio.
Hey.
How you doing, eh?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Good.
Good job with the podcast. You guys do a phenomenal job. My question for you is, do you think we will be seeing Ahsoka, something how Luke was cut off from the Force in Ahsoka?
Will Ahsoka be cut off from the Force? Good.
And will she be kind of like grumpy and not willing to help?
Oh, wait a minute. Is it going to be directed by Rian Johnson next week? What are you telling us?
She'll be surrounded by a bunch of dumb birds.
Are you telling me next week
not.
is
no board?
Are you trying to tell me next week's the week I stop watching Star Wars forever? I hope not.
Well, it could very well be, because, what would she be needing to use the Force for right now? In this timeline?
Well, just to scramble her eggs. I don't know. Anakin was lifting fruit with it at one point. But to your point, we know that Kanan, when we met Kanan, In Rebels, he was disguising it. He was keeping it at bay. He was holding it in. Is it too dangerous for Jedi to, let their Force flags fly? Does it put a target on their back? I would assume after the collapse of the Empire that some of them might be emboldened. We haven't seen this. Is there a call out from Luke Skywalker that the galaxy is now safe for Jedi? Or what does happen? I think these are all very fair questions. What happens after the fall of the Empire with respect to these Jedi that we know are out there somewhere?
Well, that's a very good point, and I guess we're going to have to see what happens next week.
Yes, we will. All right, Brandon, thanks so much for hanging with us tonight. Appreciate it. We'll take a couple more calls here. It looks like we have, who is this? Is this Jonah? Jonah? Where'd you go, Jonah? Let's see. Area code 816. Hello?
Hello.
Hey, Jonah.
Hi.
Hi. You have a question?
Yeah. Can I just say I always wanted to meet you guys, and I always listen to your podcast every morning when I go to school.
Oh,
Jonah. Oh, that's really nice. Thank you. Just hearing your voice, Jonah, just hearing your voice, it reminds Uncle Jimmy Mac to really watch his language sometimes when he's talking into a hot mic. I got to remember that young guys like you are out there listening, and nobody looks good using language like that. Am I right, Jonah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
So don't be like Uncle Jimmy.
That Mando will lead the Empire to Ahsoka, and Ahsoka and Moff will have to fight.
It is possible.
I think that's where we're going.
Yeah.
I think that's exactly where we're heading. And I think it's going to be a great showdown between the two of them.
How do you feel about that, Jonah? Does that make you scared for Ahsoka?
Yeah. I mean, I watched the Clone Wars many times.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And she's almost as good as Anakin.
Hey, Jonah, did you happen to catch the? There was a guy who works on the Mandalorian crew, and he somehow ended up in the show this week. You didn't happen to catch a guy wearing T-shirt and jeans hanging around in the back of an action sequence, did you?
No, I didn't.
No? Well, look at that. No, it's crazy. But when the Mandalorian and Grief Karga and Cara Dune busted into that lab and started shooting those scientists, you see in the background there, Jason put the picture up on our screen. There's a guy back there behind Grief Karga, just to the left of him there in that picture, and he's wearing a green T-shirt and jeans, and you see he has some sort of watch on and stuff. That doesn't look very Star Wars to me.
Wait till Paul Bateman sees denim in Star Wars. He's gonna flip out. It's a little off model.
Oh, yeah, now I see it. Yeah.
Yeah, you see that? Who is that guy? Do you think that's George Lucas? Do you think he's standing back there just kind of, just keep an eye on things?
No.
I don't.
How old are you, Jonah? How old are you?
11.
11. Well, hey, buddy, thank you.
My daughter's 11.
Thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight and calling, and make sure you call again, okay? And maybe when all this craziness is over, we'll get to meet you at a show sometime.
That would be great.
And watch out for whales.
All right, buddy. Take care, okay?
Do you guys think if you watch that episode in a month that guy in the jeans will still be in that shot, or you think they'll edit that out as soon as they can?
Well, I think he'll be there. I think he's there to stay. I think he'll get his own action figure, Black Series.
Well, no, David's making a point because they had a problem with that with Game of Thrones and the Starbucks cup, and a day or two later, it was removed. They actually went in there and re-edited it, and they covered it with CGI or whatever. They made it look like it wasn't there anymore. So I think David's making that point that they can go in there and change it to make it not in there. I went back and watched it today, and I did not see that guy. So I'm not sure if that's a live shot or not. Are you guys sure that's a live shot? That's an actual screenshot from the film, or is that some sort of promotional thing that got out and no one noticed?
Oh, no. I saw it myself. I was asking the same
Okay.
question because I didn't see it the first time I watched the episode. Then the second time I scrubbed through and was specifically looking for that. And sure enough, there he is, just hanging out. Just some dude
they
hanging
caught
out.
him. They know which stage guy that is because that watch is so big. Everyone's like, "Oh, that's Phil." Everyone knows Phil and his big watch.
Oh yeah, loser.
That guy should go to conventions and sign autographs.
A lot of people are asking, how can this happen? They go through it frame by frame and everything. But keep in mind, guys, a lot of the editing and post-production for this season of The Mandalorian was done by a lot of guys from ILM working at home. So I think we're seeing the result of that.
And Jim, these pictures were caught by fans watching from home within 3 hours of it dropping. I mean, it was pretty quick how it came out there.
Yeah,
that picture
people
came
did.
out. That picture came out before I saw it this morning.
Wow,
that was the first picture.
Yeah, word travels fast. I wouldn't be. I think David might be onto something. This could be scrubbed out by the time you watch the episode in a day or two, possibly.
They say in Attack of the Clones, in that scene where Anakin talks about hating sand with Padme, and they're on the balcony overlooking the lake there, there's supposedly a Coca-Cola can seen by the wall they're standing by. It's real hard to make out, but some people have attempted to clearly freeze frame it, but it's one of those, maybe, who knows? But everyone's saying, yeah, Hayden Christensen left his Coke can in the shot. And but this guy, he is clearly just hanging out very much in the frame, and it happened so quickly, you almost have to be pointed it out to catch it, especially the first time you watch it. But there he is, Jeans guy. I think people are already starting to call him.
18 minutes and 54 seconds. That's where you got to scrub to. So we'll take bets to see how long it takes them to get rid of him. Jim, there was another photo you sent over. This is of an IG droid in a crane. What's going on here?
Well, this is IG-11. They built a little tribute to him in the town square at Navarro because obviously the locals must consider that droid to be a big hero.
Oh, it's a statue. Look at that.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So he rode in at the end of the season 1 finale. Of course, everyone remembers seeing IG-11 come. I mean, he was an absolute hero and had a lot to do with liberating the people of Navarro. So they built a little tribute to him there. And it's just briefly seen in the background. Great attention to detail, though. Fun little things to spot.
Do you think that tribute was made with his body parts? Because he is just a metal droid. They could just put it back together.
Well, no, because he died in the he died in the hot lava. So I think that most of him disintegrated. Yeah, unfortunately.
But I'd like to make a note that is also a statue to Quill, since Quill built that droid with the integrity that it had. So in a sense, it's a monument to Quill as well, who's a great character.
Yeah, he should get a statue.
Maybe IG-11 is standing on Quill. He's got his foot up. Is that Quill?
Oh, the rock pile.
Standing on him. The nurse droid.
I mean, last time I saw Quill, that's what it looked like.
Oh, that's fantastic.
I feel like also, though, this is kind of a testament to that volume and how much better they've got at it. I mean, the background scenes are way more immersive this season than they were last season. I think they feel like they're kind of getting their legs under them, and they can put stuff like that in now.
Yes.
It's so cool. All right, one last call. We're going to wrap things up here. We got to do it. Our man from Phoenix, he's on. Hello, Eric. Make it good.
Hey, guys. Hey. Thanks for taking my call.
Of course.
I've got a question and then just two things that I found funny that you guys haven't talked about. So my question comes from my lovely wife, Andrea from Phoenix. She asked the question, that protocol droid in the school scene, is that Phoebe Cates or whatever her name is from Solo doing the voice of that droid? Because you'll notice when she does the voiceover, it's very prominent that they talk about Kessel and the Maelstrom and all that. Did you guys pick up on that?
I did not.
Yeah.
No.
You think
yeah.
it's? You
Phoebe
think there's a
Cates.
connection between L3 from Solo and the protocol droid? I don't think so.
It's the same actress that did the voice. That's what
Phoebe
I was wondering. Is it
Waller-Bridge?
the same actress that? Yes, that's it.
I haven't.
They didn't have her in the
credits.
credits, and it wasn't. She
No.
wasn't in IMDb, and I didn't see it at the end of the credits. But that was something my wife picked up on, and we watched it a second time. And I'm like, could be, might not be, but I don't know. I was just curious to see if you guys picked up on that.
I didn't, but I did pick up on a lot of what that droid was saying. Most of it was inaudible. Most of it was inaudible, but if you watched with subtitles, the droid kind of gets you caught up to what's happening, gets you caught up to speed on what's happening overall in the galaxy. The one thing that the droid does say is that I found it was really interesting. She says, the capital of the New Republic is currently on Chandrilla. Now, we know the capital of the New Republic ends up on Hacian Prime by the time of the sequel trilogy. But here, Chandrilla is the capital of the New Republic, not Coruscant, but Chandrilla. And Chandrilla is well known, especially to readers of the Expanded Universe, as being the home planet to Mon Mothma. So maybe we'll see some Mon Mothma in The Mandalorian. I thought that was pretty interesting. Also, we hear some interesting information about Kessel, like Eric was saying. They talk about the Acadici Maelstrom around Kessel. And this is what old Expanded Universe fans used to know as the Maw. And that's where, of course, the Kessel Run took place, And then other EU nods include, they were naming hyperspace lanes. And two lanes got named, the Corellian Run and the Hydean Way. And those are both EU nods, for sure. So I just thought that was interesting stuff you can only pick up via the subtitles because the dialogue is so buried in the mix with music and Baby Yoda noises and all of that. Crunching cookies. You can't hear what's being said. So that's some interesting stuff. You never know what you'll find when you watch it with the subtitles or with this audio description track too. It gives you some interesting information from the script that you might not be able to pick up with the naked ear, and other things too, other insights into the script that really aren't so obvious just by the dialogue itself. So good stuff.
All right, what did we miss, Eric? You said you had two things we missed.
Well,
That's not bad.
the two funny things. Yes, so two funny things. The first thing, I mean, you guys talked about the art at the end. Did you notice the weasel blowing a flamethrower out of its mouth at one of the Aqualish and the concept art? I just died laughing when I saw that at the end. So it like breathes flames out of its mouth.
The little animal?
Yeah, breathes fire.
Yeah.
And the concept art, it breathes fire.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That little animal he was referred to as a meerkat, and that's a very earthy animal. The meerkats are mongooses found in Africa, and and that's what the little animal looked like to me, was a meerkat. So I didn't know he breathed fire though.
They
don't do that in Africa.
So I like that. And then the last thing, okay, I'm a huge fan and not fan, but it's part of all of us, is the Star Wars Holiday Special, okay? And do you remember Art Carney? So, I mean, he gets that egg beater thing or whatever he's got, and he does all the weird crap with his hands. Do you remember that he's like doing boop, boop, and he's moving his hand around really weird?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, when the blue guy, as he's affectionately known as in chat, was trying to disarm the reactor, he did all kinds of weird crap with his hands, and the first thing I thought of was Art Carney from the Holiday Special. So sorry, maybe I'm the only one that connected that, but I just died laughing because he was doing all this weird stuff.
Yeah, well, Art Carney, that was part of his shtick from the Honeymooners going all the way back to the mid-'50s. So that's what his character Ed Norton used to do, stuff like that. Whenever he was preparing to do anything, he'd always do that. that flourish with his hands and all of that stuff, and that was a trademark move of Art Carney back in the 50s, and all of the
Hello,
Honeymooners
Ball.
reunions ever since.
Address
the ball. Hello, Ball. Yeah.
Would you cut it out?
That's the golfing episode. All right, here we go in the deep dive of Honeymooners references, but.
Hey, well, big thanks to Eric for calling in, and thanks to everybody for tuning in. And wow, what a fun episode this was! What a great discussion it was. I think that man, oh man, if all of these episodes are building up to the return of Ahsoka Tano and her premiere appearance in live action, we are really in for a heck of a treat. I'll be looking forward to it. Do want to thank our guests this week, starting with Mr. Kevin Liell. Kevin, thank you so much for being on the show with us. Much appreciated.
Thank you very much for having me. I just one closing thing I thought was kind of weird was that I don't know if you heard about Alan Dean Foster, the author. He had brought up a complaint about not getting royalties from his books, including Splinter of the Mind's Eye. And that is the book that first mentions Mimbomb, and then this episode drops this week mentioning Mimbomb. He's upset that he's not getting royalties, and I just thought that was such a funny coincidence because it seems they're having a legal battle, the timing of it. But I also want to say one last thing, Jimmy. I really appreciate you showing me those coins, and I asked people to comment or whatever on my Facebook page, and I got 39 people, and I said I'd give out 6 things. I'll send patches to every single one of those people. Just send me your address right now, and I will send every one of those people. I will send something to, because that's how we do it in the West Legion. Thank you very much for having me, guys.
And maybe Kid Jonah, if his parents are listening, why don't you get a hold of us at show@rebelforceradio.com, and maybe we could send something to Jonah as well for being such
absolutely.
A cool
we should send something. We should send something to Jonah. Reach out to Rebel Force Radio, and Jimmy, if you can just contact me with his address, I'll take care of it.
Perfect.
All right, Kevin, thank you so much. Also, Mr. David Sparks can be found over at maxsparky.com. Where he largely talks about tech and productivity and all things Apple, but every once in a while you occasionally get a Star Wars little something there. But if you care about just getting better at the things that can really make your not just your work life, but just your life in general, to get that seamless synergy between technology and the things you're trying to do, David is one of the foremost experts. So check him out there. David, thanks you so much.
Jason. Yeah, thank you. One last thought from me. I remember one time Frank Oz saying that Yoda is the Jedi Master that will eat your last cookie. I feel like Baby Yoda is right on track.
Yeah, I remember that quote, and we literally got it this time, right? Literally got stealing the cookie. But always nice talking to you, David. Thank you so much, and thanks for sharing that amazing Baby Yoda with us that you have in your studio. Jimmy Mack, final thoughts? Chapter 12, The Siege.
Butt-faced walrus men. That's pretty much all I got to say. Pretty great episode. Hey, we got an actual in-universe name for the Imperial troop transport. It was Horatio Sands referred to it as a Trexler Marauder. A Trexler Marauder. And he said it was mint. So I don't know if that kind of vehicle is actually something that would be considered current in the Star Wars universe. It seemed like it was more of a relic from an other time, but the Empire themselves seem like they're a relic from another time. So much like the Rebellion in the original trilogy, I think we're dealing with an Empire here that's also putting itself together with anything that they could scrape up in order to maintain some sort of military presence on the galaxy. But gone are the days from resources that were bottomless, I think, for the Empire. And I just found that was interesting. A Trexler Marauder. See, I love little attention to detail like that. And again, as I noted, there were things being revealed in that school session that definitely indicated to you what the state of the galaxy was like in a certain way, with good nods to the EU. And and of course the speeder bike chase. Malcolm reached out to me, sent me an email, and says when one of the speeder bikes gets destroyed, it pops up in the air, and it sort of it fell apart, very similar to how the vintage Kenner toy used to blow apart. I don't know if you remember that, but it had battle damage where it would just sort of fall apart in 3 pieces. And Malcolm claims that one of the speeder bikes, when it got destroyed, it fell apart very similar to that vintage Kenner toy. He could be right. And Dark Trooper. To get the Dark Troopers showing up in live-action Star Wars, that's a step in the right direction, my friends. And I'm really anxious to see how these things are going to look in battle. Paul Bateman and others were speculating, and we heard it here on this show, that the Dark Troopers are probably being introduced, so someone like Ahsoka will have lots of lightsaber fodder to decapitate, and and the Disney company won't feel bad about it because they're not actual people who are getting hurt. But on the other side of the coin, the Mandalorian doesn't hold back. We saw those scientists get blasted in cold blood as they were trying to destroy all of their research when Cara Dune and the Mando and Greef Karga and the dude in the jeans surprised them all in the lab. Do you think the dude in the jeans is actually part of the mission? Maybe he was wearing a Mandalorian helmet and just jeans and a t-shirt. It's a different type of Mandalorian.
I think that guy came to my house on Halloween. That guy with just the Mando helmet and the jeans, and he got trick or treat.
Yeah. Here I am.
I actually think that was the Emperor.
Floor.
The Emperor.
That was the Emperor.
Wears, the Emperor wears casual clothes.
Yes.
That's Friday.
That's very interesting. But all in all, a great episode. And what did I say last time? And I said it on purpose when I said Satine Wren, not in this episode.
Once again. All right. Well, thanks again to everybody. We're here each and every week. There's a new Mandalorian episode. You can catch us. And also, you can catch the weekly Rebel Force Radio podcast. Just head over to rebelforceradio.com. So that's going to do it for us. We will see you next time. For Rebel Force Radio, I'm Jason.
I'm Jimmy Mack.
And remember,
the Force will be with you, always.